Welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. It's a cold, wet, and dark night here in Spokane. Hope wherever you are watching from, you are cuddled up, feeling nice and cozy for tonight's exhibition game between Gonzaga and Western Washington. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Let's start first with the home team, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The backcourt will be handled by twin sisters, seniors Kaylee and Kaylin Trong. Michaela Williams, the junior, and then in the front court, Yvonne Ejim, the reigning WCC Sixth Woman of the Year. Just made one start last year. We expect that to change this year a lot. And then junior, Eliza Hollingsworth. The Zags are coached by Lisa Fortier in her 9th season as the Zags head coach. She's the only coach in program history to have 7 20-win seasons in her first 8 years. Certainly a lot of success for Coach Fortier. Let's take a look at the visiting team, the Western Washington Vikings out of Bellingham. They'll be led by freshman Mason Ober. Got the late start tonight due to an injury for the Vikings. Sisters Avery Dykstra and Riley Dykstra, not twins. They're separated by about 20 months, but Avery, the reigning Defensive Player of the Year for the GNAC. Riley, the reigning Freshman of the Year, so two very experienced players. Katrina Jamaica and Brooke Walling will round out the starting 5 for the Vikings. They are coached by Carmen Dolfo in her 32nd season at the helm for the Vikings out of Bellingham. One of the most successful coaches, not just at the D2 level, but any level. She's one of 36 active coaches to win at least 600 games, and that's across all divisions. All right, time now for the keys to the game.
I love exhibition games for this reason. You get to try a lot. So keys to the game, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. For the Zags, play in transition. We have seen them in practice time and time again, running up and down the court. Defensive pressure on a very experienced Western Washington roster, and then response, something that Lisa Fortier talked to you and I about, was she wants to see how her team responds with the distribution of minutes we're going to see in different rotations tonight.
Looking forward to Amanda, and we are underway. The wait is over as exhibition play is underway. Western Washington controls the tip-off, and it will be Mason Oberg, who just looks like she lost the handle of the basketball. It goes out of bounds, and the Zags will take over. Hollingsworth inbounds it to Kaylin Trong. Kaylee Trong was looking to go down low to Ejim. It was tipped and out of bounds. The ball will stick with the Bulldogs.
Great idea, though, to try to get it into Ejim right away. She has great positioning right now on Walling from Western Washington.
Michaela Williams has it, but she's going to get called for a travel. Took one too many steps there as she looked to drive to the basket.
So a couple turnovers from both sides to start out, and now some full court pressure.
It's usually pretty normal. I know it's just an exhibition game, but it's the first time really they're playing someone other than themselves. So there are still certainly some nerves.
Yeah, you know, Gonzaga, they actually had a scrimmage scheduled with Arizona State University that was canceled. So this is really their first look at an opponent.
Nice defense by Ejim, who's just swarming Jamaica. Able to hold on to it, though. Looking for somebody to give the ball up to. She finds the freshman Oberg here on the wing, but it is eventually turned over. Ejim's going the other way. Looks for Williams down there in the baseline, and again, it's tipped out of bounds.
I like the selfless lot, but I wish she just would have went up with it. I don't know if she realized how close she was to the bucket, but look at this great defensive pressure from Gonzaga. They're fighting.
Defense looks solid early on in this one. Kaylee Trong with the 3. That one's a little strong. Rebounded by Riley Dykstra. Oberg puts the spin move on and drives. Layup is just off the mark. Rebounded by Walling. The putback won't go, but the Vikings still have control. Jamaica inside. The right-hander won't go. Rebounded by Williams.
Look at the way that Gonzaga is pushing the ball, though. That's something that we talked about early on in this game, and we know it's going to happen.
Hollingsworth, 3, a little bit strong. Rebounded once again by Dykstra. Vikings moving down quickly. Avery gives it up to Jamaica with the little right-hander, also off the mark. No score here in the first 2 minutes of action between the Zags and the Vikings. Kaylee Trong working off the screen, gets fouled. Shot won't go, but she will head to the line.
That's a senior move to me, right? You're struggling shooting a little bit to start out. Let's drive into the bucket, create some separation from our opponent, and find ourselves at the free throw line.
Last year, Trong was a 83% free throw shooter. In her 3 previous years to Gonzaga, she makes the first free throw in the first points of the contest. Started 62 games for the Zags. She did score a season-high 20 points in the win over Nebraska last year in the first round of the NCAA women's tournament. And she does make her second free throw, so it's 2-0 Gonzaga early. Riley Dykstra working inside, gets the friendly roll, and this game's tied up early.
Love that play from Dykstra, though, to kind of welcome Gonzaga's pressure. They are not shying off of them at all, so they're going to have to adapt and really play with contact.
Kaylin Trong pulls the trigger from 3. That one rattles in and out. Ejim fighting for a rebound. Ends up in the hands of Hollingsworth. Her shot is blocked. It was Molly Olson with the block there, and she's got it coming the other way. Avery Dykstra looking for help. They work it out to Olson, who puts up the 3. That shot is short, rebounded by Michaela Williams. They go down low to Ejim. That shot misses, loose ball, collected by Western Washington. But they turn it over. And back come the Zags.
A little back and forth right now. I would say that both sides, in my opinion, feel a little bit rushed, but that's kind of normal when you haven't played against someone else. So I think everyone just kind of needs to settle in a little bit, and we're going to see a little bit more relaxed Gonzaga team.
Yeah, I'm sure as this game continues, we will see both teams slow down a little bit. Pull-up shot by Kaylee Trong. She wanted a foul, didn't get one. That pass
You saw that look too?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see a replay on that one maybe, but either way, it's the Vikings' ball as Riley Dykstra, a pretty shot from underneath the basket to give the Vikings a 4-2 lead.
And kind of surprising, you know, she's not a tall guard. She's 5'10". To get in position with all of those Gonzaga hands and find yourself at the rim, that was a great move.
Michaela Williams drives, and she is fouled on her way to the hoop. Will also head to the line. Williams started to see her role increase toward the end of last year. Making a start here this evening. We expect to see a lot of her. She actually won the 3-point shooting contest for the Fan Fest for the Gonzaga Bulldogs earlier in the offseason. Excited to see what she can bring to this team.
That's fun. I love that.
Yeah, no starts last season, but did appear in all 34 games. She was a 3-sport athlete in high school. She also played volleyball and was a standout track and field star. And she will go take a break after knocking down both free throws for her transfer from the University of Utah, Brenna Maxwell. For the Vikings substitutions, number 21, Riley, number 25, Maddie Bramwell. Avery gives it up to her sister Riley, who knocks down the corner 3.
Western Washington is doing something right now, and what it is they know that Gonzaga wants to pressure. So they are drawing over those defenders, and then guess what? Someone's open, and it was her sister right over in the corner.
Sure, they've practiced that many times, not just in the gym, but in their front driveway. It's a right hand from Maud Hybens, who's also checked into the game. And after a bit of a scramble for the basketball, it will go the other way.
I like the take by Hybens. I like trying to get the ball into the paint. What's the easy bucket?
Ejim actually got called for a personal foul on that last possession, her first. Carly Zaragoza drives, gets a friendly roll, and the Vikings are off to a 9-4 lead here in the first quarter.
It's good defensive pressure, but right now Western Washington, they're just taking that contact. They're using the high post, going up strong, driving into the bucket, and scoring.
Appears we have a foul away from the ball, holding call. That one against Maddie Grand-Boyce. Well, welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. Let's meet the visiting Vikings, who currently have a 9-4 lead over the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Not a surprise for this program. They may be D2, but they have been dominant over the years, especially for head coach Carmen Dolfo. They were runner-ups last year in the NCAA Division II tournament. They don't look rattled here at all in the early going, Amanda.
No, and I think that this is a great test and a great first kind of a look at this Gonzaga basketball team. We talked about the fact that they've lost 4 of their 5 starters, so the minutes are going to look different this year, even though most of the roster stays the same. And they've kind of come in, in exhibitions. The last 4, the Zags have won by a margin of an average of 50 points, right? So this is a team in Western Washington. That's the NCAA Division II runner-up. They played in a national championship game. They're solid.
Yeah, they also return 3 starters, 4 of which, are seniors. They've got 4 players that were named to the All-GNAC preseason team with Brooke Walling, Molly Olson, and the Dykstra sisters. Meanwhile, Yvonne Ejim for the Zags has to go sit down after picking up her second foul. Ball goes out of bounds, last touch by Western Washington.
And we're kind of seeing what Western Washington wants to work on as well, right? Carmen Dolfo telling us coming into this game that they didn't necessarily prepare for Gonzaga, but wanted to work on their own plays.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Wanted to see how they would respond to certain situations, like a foul or maybe missing a shot. So not exactly game planning for each other, neither of these squads. Zaragoza has a lane, left hand won't go, but a rebound by the Vikings, who still have it, well, for a second anyways, but after a scramble, it's the Zags going the other way. Kaylin Trong slowing things down, looks to work off the screen.
Oh, we got a mismatch down low.
Kayla Williams, easy drive there for the bucket.
She said, what do you mean? I'll just take it all the way. But Mount Hivens with the mismatch against Western Washington's shorter guard, right? So that's just something to be aware of.
That ended a 2-minute and 10-second scoring drought for the Bulldogs. And it looks like that Riley Dykstra stepped out of bounds there on the wing, so it's another turnover, and the Zags will take over. It's Brenna Maxwell with a 3. That's good to tie this game at 9 apiece, and Amanda, I think we're going to see a lot of that from Maxwell this season.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Joe. Back in Salt Lake City, they call her Brenna Buckets, okay?
Just an outstanding career at the University of Utah before transferring over here to Gonzaga University. During her time at the University of Utah, she's ranked 5th all-time in program history in threes made. And there's the graphic right there. Averaged 12 points a game, made 83 three-pointers her sophomore season.
And I think what's unique about her as a shooter is that the catch in transition into shot is almost seamless. she doesn't need additional time to step into her shot. It's all one motion, so that makes her release incredibly fast, and that is tough to guard.
Certainly, Lisa Fortier compared her to Sierra Walker. Of course, Gonzaga fans know a lot about Walker. Was an outstanding player for them the last couple of seasons. Was that person that you would go to when you needed a bucket? It could be Maxwell this season for the Bulldogs. Mason Oberg, the freshman, finds an open Avery Dykstra, whose shot is off the front of the iron. Excuse me, that was Riley Dykstra. Had an open look, that's what you want, but just missed.
They've gotten open looks from this left corner multiple times. There's some sort of breakdown happening when the screen is coming across from Western Washington. The defensive rotation is off.
I'm sure it's something Coach Fortier would like to address the next time out or perhaps halftime, but you're right. They have had a lot of looks from that spot.
But that's kind of, this is what I was talking about. This is the point of an exhibition game. You have the opportunity to see what's working and what areas of the game you may need additional time on.
Stephanie Peterson, who's checked into the ball game for the Vikings with it. Good defense from Maxwell. Peterson gets it up to Oberg, calls out the play. Williams on defense. Oberg tries to go inside. Peterson kicks it back out to Olsen. Shot doesn't go. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. She didn't get it off on time, so it's a turnover for the Zags.
That was a pretty play. If there's one thing you should know about me, I love a backdoor cut. Okay? And if you can get it into a reverse layup, come on. Come on. She almost had it.
Almost.
Said, let me kick it out to my teammate, though. I'm definitely not open.
Maud Hybens with it at the elbow, kicks it over to Maxwell. Another three from the same spot, although that one doesn't go. And Stephanie Peterson had the rebound, but her foot was on the line, so the Zags will keep it.
Same spot, nearly the same shot. Do you see what I'm talking about, though, where her shot is almost just one motion? So you had Riley of Western Washington, hand in her face, but the release is just so quick. There's no time to recover.
It's a pretty thing to look at. Speaking of pretty, that shot from Kay Leetrong falls, and now the Zags take a 12-9 lead, and they are on an 8-0 run.
Talk about a shooter. Right, we know that she can do that. I'm excited to see more of it in this game. I love the separation she was able to create. Look at this. One quick step, boom, get her off the dribble. Buckets.
Beautiful shot there from the senior, who's got it now. Tried for the no-look pass. We've seen a lot of that out of her throughout her career at Gonzaga, but no one was home.
I mean, like, Maud Hybens was almost home.
Almost,
She was almost there. Oh, gosh, that was really pretty. That made me excited.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. You'll see a lot of that from her this season. She
we
loves
can
the
expect
no-look.
to see that.
That's right. Peterson goes baseline, but kicks it back out to Walling, who then kicks it out. The corner three, that one is in and out from Monique Fierke. Zags with another chance to extend this run, currently 8-0 in the last 2.5 minutes. $20 seconds to go in this first quarter of play. Michaela with a drive, kicks it out to the corner. That shot's good from Kaylee Trong.
Back-to-back buckets for Kaylee Trong, but I love Michaela Williams driving in, drawing over Western Washington's defense when she had all defenders' eyes on her. Bam, who's open? Kaylee in the corner.
She's starting to feel it now. Western Washington hoping to get a bucket off before the end of the quarter. That shot, or it looked like a pass actually, sailed out of bounds. Last touch by the Zags, so it will be 0.1. I don't even know if Western Washington can get a shot off here. They do not. The shot was good, but the referee waved it off. Not enough time. So kind of a slow start for both schools, but Gonzaga really turning up the heat here as they end the first quarter on an 11-0 run.
And it's the senior, Kaylee Trong. We expected it to happen. Knocking down buckets. She's feeling it. Gonzaga back in the lead.
Well, welcome back to Mike Roth Way here in Spokane, Washington. After a sluggish start for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, Amanda, they have really started to feel themselves.
Yeah, one of the keys to the game, if you remember I mentioned, was response, something that Lisa Fortier really emphasized to us in practice this week. Knowing that we were going to see a lot of different players playing in different positions, getting extended minutes, she wanted to see how her team responded. And I would say that they came out, they knew exactly what they needed to do, which was put a little more defensive pressure on Western Washington, and then offensively, let it fly.
And that response included an 11-0 run to end the first quarter for the Zags, who have possession to start the second. Callie Stokes, number 10, with it right now, checking into the ball, going for the first time, goes up strong, but a little too strong. And we got a reach-in foul. It looks like they're going to call that one on Hollingsworth.
Foul on the Zags, number 24, Michaela Williams.
No, it was Michaela Williams, excuse me, first personal for her.
There's these mismatches going on, though, with Western Washington's defensive rotations, where a guard who is significantly shorter than Gonzaga's posts is having to pressure them. So I think that maybe moving forward, we're going to see a little bit more awareness from the perimeter players on when that happens.
Shot missed from Western Washington, and Gonzaga quickly heads the other way. It's Kaylee Trong who spins, goes up. Ball goes out of bounds, last touched by the Vikings.
She wanted the foul call. She looked around for the foul call. And
I like the idea, though, of the transition, rushing down there, trying to catch them off guard. Hollingsworth gives it up to Stokes on the wing. She works off the string. Strong drive, right hand a little too short. Rebounded by Oberg. Quick movement from the Vikings, had a good look, but the shot was missed by Jamaica. Michaela Williams looking for some help down low. She's got Hollingsworth, puts the ball on the floor before going up and off the glass.
Those were those mismatches. I'll figure out how to say mismatch throughout this broadcast.
Hey,
Don't
it's
you
exhibition
worry.
for us too, right?
That I was talking about, though, right? Oberg, a 5'5" guard, and then you have Hollingsworth, a 6'2" forward. Give her the ball and let her get to work.
Avery Dykstra stepped out of bounds there on the corner three. Here's the replay, Amanda.
Yeah, look at that, right?
Yeah.
Once she had position, she was able to easily go up with it.
Williams and Hybens check out for the Bulldogs. Kaylin Trong checks back in, and we see Destiny Burton in, number 30 there. Her first action of the evening, she misses.
And it looks like Hollingsworth may have gotten poked in the eye on that last play.
Yeah, she's walking over toward the bench. She'll get a quick break, get that checked out as Maxwell checks back in. Hopefully,
so there's the
is okay.
bucket, and ooh, there's the hand right to the eye.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. That shot falls for Peyton Muma, ending the run of the Gonzaga Bulldogs to make it a 6-point game here with 7:30 to play in the first half. Stokes gives it up to Kaylin Trong. Drives baseline, hangs in the air. Shot off the mark. Oberg going the other way. She goes down to the ground. We're going to get a jump ball situation here. Yes, we are. But the possession arrow stays with Western Washington.
I love the defensive pressure from this Gonzaga team. It's effort, defensive effort. Look at that. You've got multiple bodies all swarming the ball.
Gonzaga, very good defensive team. Held opponents to just 56.1 points a game last season, which was second best in the West Coast Conference. Katrina Jamaica in the paint, spins, left-hand shot. Nice looking bucket there for Katrina Jamaica.
Beautiful move from Jamaica to get Gonzaga up in the air and then a little step through finish on the left side.
Kaylee Trong with the lane. Nice little pass there to Burton, whose shot is a little too strong. Walling with the rebound. Quickly gives it up to Olsen. And now it's Dykstra. Too strong. Walling, an open three. Got it. And now we're, after seeing the Zags go on a bit of a run, it looks like it's now the Vikings who pulled themselves within just 1 point. Zags 0 for their last 4. Kaylee Trong, shots off the mark. A fight for the ball between Maxwell and Walling. It will stay with Western Washington.
I know that one didn't fall. Let's take a look again at this. Nice looking bucket from Walling of Western Washington.
She's a fantastic player for the Vikings. She, had a great finish to the end of last season.
Yeah.
The GNAC tournament MVP of the shots made by Maxwell. Sorry, Amanda, I think I cut you off there a bit ago.
Oh, no. I think that the point stays the same, which is, communicating, rotating, and knowing where those shooters are on Western Washington's team. Ooh.
Kaylin Trong may have gotten fouled there. No whistle, though. Goes up. They're saying it was last touched by Gonzaga.
But the move, the between the legs to create separation from yourself, quick, explosive to the bucket, that is what we can expect from Kaylin Trong.
Katrina Jamaica fakes, then gives it up to Riley Dykstra, who kicks it out to Oberg. 3-ball. That one rattles home. And we are tied at 19, 5 minutes to play here in this first half.
It's funny, if you remember, early on, we talked about both teams just kind of settling in offensively. And I think that's what we're definitely seeing. We knew that this was really going to be a competitive exhibition game.
Absolutely. Two teams, two storied programs. Yvonne Ejim back into the game, pulls it from the right elbow. That shot rattles in and out. There's a fight for the ball. And they're going to call a foul on Esther Little. We've got a timeout here inside the McCarthy Athletic Center. As we look at the replay from the Vikings, the freshman Oberg knocking down the three. We'll be right back with college basketball on the WCC Network on Stadium. Welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. Zags, Vikings, all knotted up at 19 apiece here with 4:38 to play in the first half. Been a good competitive game so far. I'm Joe McHale, joined by Amanda Smith. We're happy that you're spending part of your evening with us here on the WCC Network on Stadium.
So a little bit of a scoring rut going on for Gonzaga. They've only scored 4 points so far in this second quarter.
And with that bucket by the Vikings, they take a lead. That was Truett Riley, the 6'1 sophomore out of Oregon.
Yeah, it's a 12-2 Western Washington run over about the last 3 minutes.
Zags will look to end that run as Mount Hybens goes strong off the glass, and exactly what they do is they knot it back up at 21.
I love that move, right? You know that you're in a little bit of a scoring drought. You know you're having a hard time kind of getting a shot to fall. Drive in. What's the easy bucket? Get it to your post players.
And now,
love that awareness.
And now the Zags come away with yet another turnover. Kaylee Trong, they work it around the perimeter to Brenna Maxwell. Pulls up from the left elbow, a little too strong. Rebounded by the Vikings. Nice effort there from Walling to keep it in bounds as Riley Dykstra comes the other way. Was looking for Riley, but it was knocked out of bounds. We're going to get a couple substitutions. Kaylin Trong, Eliza Hollingsworth back in the game. Little and Ejim will sit back down. It's nice to see that Hollingsworth eye, although from just what I'm seeing, it does look pretty red, but nothing too serious as she checks back into this ball game. So we're glad to hear that. Avery Dykstra picks up a foul on her move to the bucket. Excuse me, it was Brooke Walling. It was away from the play. It's her second personal foul for Brooke Walling. Another stop and play. That one's going to be called on Mason Oberg. Her second personal. She'll check out of the ball game for Molly Olson. Hollingsworth with it, looking to drive baseline, goes up strong. Shot won't go, but the putback, Hybens can't get that to fall either, but the Zags still control it. Trong, nice pass to Hybens, off the glass and in.
Talk about responding. They never gave up on the play. I absolutely loved the ball movement and rotation going on from the Zags to kind of create initial separation from Western Washington's defenders. And then, yes, responding, not giving up on the buckets.
Sure, this is a clip that they'll watch during film session on Monday to talk about. Lisa, I'm sure, saying, see, this is what we want to do. Never give up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it started, with those perimeter players kind of drawing over attention, driving in, drawing over defense. You just want to get them to rotate. Western Washington, their defense is spread. They're very spaced out right now. So I think that the movement from the guards is kind of what has created the openings for the post down low.
Carly Zaragoza at the line for the Vikings, makes one of two free throws. Kaylee Trong gives it up to her sister Kaylin, who then kicks it out to the corner to Michaela Williams. Now Eliza Hollingsworth with it at the left elbow, looking to drive. She will. She draws a double team, spins. Shot off the mark, rebounded by Avery Dykstra. As we are under 2 minutes to play here in the first half, we have a blocking foul. Excuse me, a charging foul. No, I apologize. That was on the Vikings, Carly Zaragoza, who was called for the charge. So it's Gonzaga basketball. Trong from way downtown. What a shot by Kaylee Trong. It's her third three-pointer of the game.
She had all the space.
Yep.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Why not? We know that she is a strong shooter. It's something that Lisa Fortier talked to us about heading into this game, that both Kaylin and Kaylee, they can be relied on to knock down a shot when needed.
Kaylee Trong with 11 points in this contest, 3 for 4 from three-point range. Having a great start to this contest. Minute 30 left. Avery Dykstra able to get it away. Nice defense from the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Vikings didn't have a good-looking shot there. Callie Stokes back into the ball game. As they work around the perimeter. This time it's Kaylin Trong from about the same spot her sister. That shot didn't go, but it's rebounded by the Bulldogs. Stokes on the baseline, looking for a little bit of help. She gets it up to Hollingsworth. Back to Kaylin Trong. Looking inside for Hollingsworth, that will stay with the Zags. That ball was tipped. And the Zags, Amanda, you've been talking about it all game, they had another mismatch there.
Yeah, it was the same one that we've kind of seen with this defensive rotation from Western Washington, where once again Avery Dykstra was guarding a much taller Eliza Hollingsworth.
2 seconds to shoot for the Zags. Ejim misses, but they're going to get another 20 seconds here because after the rebound, the ball was tipped out of bounds by Western Washington. Trong inbounds to her sister, Kaylin, who pulls up. Nice looking shot there as she goes to the ground. And it's 28-22, Gonzaga with 30 seconds left in the half. Ejim with a block on the defensive end, and here come the Zags again. 22 seconds. They can hold for the final shot if they wish, and it looks like they will, to try to extend their lead even more here at halftime. Hollingsworth to Ejim, left-hander goes. And that's how the first half will come to a close. It's tight just a couple of minutes ago, and just like that, Gonzaga with a 8-point lead. They finish out the first half on a 7-0 run. You see Ejim there doing work both on offense, or on defense and on offense. I mean, this is the player we all expect to see this season.
I was going to say the same thing. I just have been watching her. She has been putting in work on the defensive end, and you might not always notice because maybe it's not her hand that's in the passing lane, right, that's tipping the ball. Or maybe it's not her that's necessarily the one who gets the steal. But she is a huge part of what this Gonzaga team has been able to do defensively after responding, being down in the first quarter. And then on the offensive end, I'm loving watching them getting out and running, and then the Trong twins kind of finding their offensive rhythm, settling in and knocking down some buckets.
It's a 30-22 lead for the Zags here at the halftime at the McCarthy Athletic Center. We're back with the halftime report right after this. Welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. 30-22 lead for the Gonzaga Bulldogs over the visiting Western Washington University Vikings here. An exhibition play. You know, this spring, the Trong twins, Kaylee and Kaylin Trong, had an excellent opportunity to play in Vietnam for the national team overseas. Both enjoyed the experience so much and the reception that they got from all the fans while they were out there. Here's a little bit more on their experience.
I'm Kaylin Trong, also known as Juong Tao Vi. I'm Kaylee Trong. I am also Juong Tao Mi. So we grew up around the culture, obviously being raised with parents and grandma. So we knew quite a bit. Personally, I wasn't expecting to receive as much attention. It's kind of surprising and in a way a little overwhelming, but just the love that the fans have given us, it feels good for sure. Very loyal fans and diehard fans, I would say. It was funny because there were some volunteers that were like holding hands like this, trying to clear a path for us. Every time we score, they would just yell. No matter no matter how much we were losing by, it felt like we were winning. We'll go back and rewatch some of the film, but it just doesn't do it justice. It was just amazing in person. I think that was like one of a lifetime experience. That it was packed, like every single game for at least women's, and then leading up to the men's, it was always packed. People were standing, sitting on the steps. There wasn't a big stadium for us to play in, like the Kindle or the Spokane Arena. When we were heading to the gym, someone had told me, "Oh, they're setting up a screen outside," and I was like, "Oh, that'll be good," because I know a lot of people that didn't get to go in, and it was. I can't stop like thinking about just the feeling that they gave us during the games, after the games. Yeah, the people definitely made the trip memorable. Over in Vietnam, I did have a lot of fun. I felt free and I felt like I was smiling most of the time. All of our teammates over there had a passion for basketball. They didn't have access to the facilities we had or personal trainers that we can get over here. That love for the game kept them motivated and kept them wanting more for the Vietnam basketball program, and so it's a good reminder of why you should keep going.
so cool to see the reception that the Trong twins had over their time in Vietnam playing for the national team. You can see that story and other Zag stories on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday. It's called Gonzaga Game Day. It's on the Gonzaga Bulldogs YouTube channel. It's all things Gonzaga athletics. And again, all kinds of great stories from around this university and those athletes. All right, time for another break here on the WCC Network on Stadium. When we come back, we will have first half highlights. 30-22 lead Gonzaga over Western Washington. Welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center here in Spokane, Washington. Joe McHale, Amanda Smith. Halftime here, Zags with an 8-point lead over the visiting Western Washington Vikings. And Amanda, it was really a half of runs with both these teams. Kind of a slower start, but then they both started to find their groove.
And I think that that's what we expected coming into this game. These are two really competitive programs. I'm not surprised at all at how they kind of started in an exhibition and then ultimately how it finished out.
Yeah, you're seeing some of the highlights here from Western Washington. They actually had a 7-0 run about midway through that first half to catch up to the Zags, but then the Zags going on a run of their own. At one point, it was a 13-0 run. Like you said, it was sluggish start. Zags take over. Western Washington fights back, but then Zags close out that first half really, really strongly. I'm sure Lisa Fortier, talking to the team in the locker room right now, has to be happy and pleased with how they responded. Those keys to the game, Amanda.
Yeah, once again, the word response, right? I think that that's been a key emphasis for not just this game, but I think it's going to be an emphasis moving forward as well. Things aren't always going to go perfect. Like we mentioned multiple times, they've lost 4 starters, so things are looking a little different, and they're going to have to figure out what works, what they need, maybe additional support in working on. But I think that someone who really stood out to me in this first half was Yvonne Ejim, not just on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. So much of what Gonzaga was able to produce offensively started with what she was doing on the other side.
And she certainly seems like she is a heartbeat to this Gonzaga team. You know, and folks watching at home might say, hey, what, 8-point lead, sure, that's great, but this is a Division II school, right? Shouldn't we be, you know, beating on them worse than that? I mean, the last time the Zags played a Division II team was last season during an exhibition when, you know, it was Central Washington University who didn't even score until 5 seconds left or 50 seconds left in that first quarter. But again, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Western Washington, their game, they're a storied program, 18 NCAA 2, you know, tournament appearances under Coach Dolfo. They won the great Northwest Athletic Conference last year, preseason #1 team in the country according to the media poll. So, you know, they're holding their own against a very talented Gonzaga team.
Yeah, they've got 10 returners. 5 of those made at least 12 starts in the season in which they had their NCAA tournament run and ultimately played for the championship. So this is a really solid opponent in an exhibition game. And I love that for this Gonzaga team because it kind of gives them, they haven't played against anyone else but each other. So it gives them an opportunity to see, you know, kind of what is working offensively and defensively that maybe needs some adjusting moving forward as we are going to start looking at non-conference play.
All right, fans having a fun Friday evening. All smiles here inside the McCarthy Athletic Center as the Gonzaga Bulldogs have a 30-22 lead over the visiting Vikings. When we come back, we will have your first half stats. Stick around. Welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. 8-point lead for the Gonzaga Bulldogs in this exhibition contest against the Western Washington University Vikings. About 2 minutes to go until we kick off the second half. Before we do that, though, let's take some time and look at the first half stats. Amanda, what pops out to you when you look at those?
To me, I'm someone who always looks at turnover numbers, right? For Western Washington, 11 turnovers, 13 points off of those for the Bulldogs. Then if you look the other way, ooh, nice taking care of the ball for Gonzaga there in the first half. Just 4 turnovers, no points scored for the Vikings off of those opportunities.
Both teams shooting around that low to mid field goal. Vikings 35% from the field, Bulldogs 32%. From three-point range, Gonzaga has an advantage, 44% from beyond the arc, 38% for the visiting Vikings. Kaylee Trong, I mean, just what a great first half she had. She was 3 of 4 from behind the arc, with 11 points. Just I guess that's not necessarily unexpected, though, from her.
No, but the next closest Gonzaga player to her in scoring right now is Brenna Maxwell with 5 points. So I think offensively, maybe we're going to see a little bit more spread scoring here in the second half because, yes, you love the production from Kaylee, but I would assume that the defensive adjustment for Western Washington is going to be a little bit more aware of where she is on the court. So what other scorers from the Bulldogs can kind of step up?
You know, Eliza Hollingsworth just 1 for 5. Kaylin Trong 1 of 6. Savon Ejim 1 of 4. And then on the visiting team, really outside of the sophomore Riley Dykstra, 4 of 6 shooting with 9 points. Haven't seen a whole lot of offensive production from anyone.
Yeah, but they've been getting looks. That's the thing, is they have attempted 26 shots. Gonzaga, 34. So there is a differential as well in shot attempts. And ultimately, as you continue out throughout the game, you're going to want to see that shot attempt number, if I'm Western Washington, go up, because that translates into like 6 to 8 points at the end of a game, which could ultimately determine the outcome.
Yeah, just an 8-point lead right now for these Gonzaga Bulldogs as we are set to start the second half. For the Zags, it will be Michaela Williams, Kaylee and Kaylin Trong, Eliza Hollingsworth, and Yvonne Ejim, the same 5 that made the start. And then it's Avery and Riley Dykstra, along with Brooke Walling, Katrina Jamaica, and Mason Oberg for the Vikings in black. Eliza Hollingsworth with it, drives in the paint, using her pivot, left-handed shot, lays it in off the glass, and the Zags have a 10-point lead.
I love that move. It was composed, it was gathered, and she welcomed the contact from Jamaica on the play.
Brooke Walling's got it up top, and they're going to call a foul on Yvonne Ejim. I believe that's her 3rd tonight.
Look at this, the composure, the moves. She's someone that Lisa Fortier talked about heading into this game that has really stepped up and saw a need for a leader, an additional leader on the team, and that maybe that's not her comfortable spot to speak up. She's more of a quiet player, but she saw the need for it and has really been that for this team.
And the thing about Hollingsworth is what makes her a leader, according to Coach Fortier, as that shot rattles out, is she has been in a lot of positions that other players can relate to. She's redshirted. She's been injured. She's had to come off the bench. So when other players are going through those same situations, she says, hey, I've been there too, you'll get your opportunity.
Absolutely.
Hollingsworth with it now, goes up strong, but the shot is short, rebounded by Jamaica. Avery Dykstra gives it up to Oberg. Draws the attention of a couple of Zags, back out to Jamaica. And now to Riley Dykstra. Working on Michaela Williams. Goes inside, right-handed shot. Whoa, gets the friendly roll. As it's the first points of the second half for the Vikings.
This Western Washington lineup right now is much smaller than Gonzaga's, especially when you get into the paint. So I love the fact that they're just going hard to the basket.
Kaylee Trong rattles home yet another three-pointer. She's having herself a heck of a game.
Why stop?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Feed the hot hand.
Exactly.
If it's hot, don't stop. Avery Dykstra, baseline, gives it up to Walling, who then kicks it out to Riley Dykstra on the wing. Moves inside. That shot off the mark, rebounded by Ejim. Oh, what a pass from Kaylee Trong to Hollingsworth, though, but she has it stripped. Nice defense from the Vikings. Mason Oberg turns it over. It's Michaela Williams coming up with that steal, going the other way. Kicks it out to Kaylin Trong. Thought about it, then pulls up from the right elbow and gets the friendly bounce.
Did you see her smiling, running on the way back like, oh, is it going to go? Is it going to fall? Of course it is.
I love seeing that story during halftime about their opportunity to play in Vietnam in the springtime and just the reception they got from the fans and really trying to shed more of a light, shine more of a light on basketball in Vietnam. Two of them played in both the 3-on-3 and 5-on-5 tournament. Brought home some hardware, a couple medals. Didn't even touch the ball in Vietnam until that very first game they played. They had a delay. It was a 14-hour time change getting over there, and then they lost their luggage. And because of everything that was going on, they knew the ball was different where the tournament was being played, and didn't actually get to touch the ball until the very start of the game, but it worked out for them. They both had great performances. As Kaylin Trong pulls the trigger from downtown, gets another friendly bounce as she smiles running down the court.
I love it. They're having so much fun. And that is just such an incredible story of them playing in Vietnam and the response that they got. And, you know, wanting to empower Asian American athletes. It's something that they're really passionate about and that they speak on often.
Yeah, they faced quite a bit of stereotype growing up, or picked last when they were going to play because they looked different than the others. You know, there was a story in a recent article in the Spokesman Review about how they, you know, one of the referees after the game, Michaela Williams knocking it down inside the paint, asked Kaylee Trong after the game, so you playing D2 or D3? And she said, well, actually D1. Ref just kind of smirked, and that was the response that she had, which was, you know, just kind of telling of some of the stuff, the criticism that they've faced throughout their careers. But here they are having a great time leading this Gonzaga Bulldog team. We'll take a look at it. There's Kaylin Trong getting the friendly bounce. All smiles here inside the McCarthy Athletic Center as Gonzaga Bulldogs go on a run to start 42-24. We'll be right back. All smiles here at the McCarthy Athletic Center as the Gonzaga Bulldogs currently on a 10-0 run over the visiting Western Washington University Vikings. Boy, I don't know what Lisa Fortier said to her team at halftime. They did have an 8-point lead at the half, but boy, they've come out looking sharp to start this second half.
I feel like that's what I was kind of expecting to happen, right? This was, once again, is the first look that they've had at an opponent. So we knew that there was going to be some adjustments that needed to be made. And sometimes you just need an opportunity to really sit down and talk for a solid 5 minutes about, hey, this is what we really need to do different in order to kind of stretch out our lead. And the response heading into this first half has been amazing.
A 16-point lead for the Zags. Brenna Maxwell checking into the game. Was fouled on a 3-point attempt, so she'll go to the line and try and make three free throws.
I love a story that Lisa Fortier told about Brenna and her competitive spirit, and even, just playing board games, playing some Family Feud. Yeah. She's like, I must win.
You love that. You got. Everyone has that on a team, right? That person who will be, so serious. It doesn't matter what they're playing. She's going to want to win. And that was another thing she said reminded her. She hits all 3 of her 3-pointers. The kind of Sierra Walker was, she wants to get every rebound. She wants to make every single shot when she's in there.
And I think that rebounding is something, that's emphasized on this team that she knows that she has to do, and something that at the University of Utah she really had to work on. She wasn't known for her defense there. Specifically, she was known as a shooter and for her offensive play. So, when you talk about earning minutes, that's going to come from putting in the work on the defensive end as well.
She was an excellent player during her time at the University of Utah, a great addition to Coach Lisa Fortier's team. Avery Dykstra, right-handed drive. That won't go. And it's a rebound, and this scoring drought continues for the Vikings. Avery Dykstra working on Kaylin Trong, who goes down low to Maud Hybens. There's a fight for the ball. It's going to be a jump ball, possession arrow with the Vikings, so they'll take over.
Love the idea of the play, right? Let's clear out. Let's get it to our post player. I honestly didn't see it producing until it happened.
Yvonne Ejim checking back into the ball game. Eliza Hollingsworth will get some rest. Riley Dykstra working inside. Shot was too strong. Ejim comes down with another rebound. Maxwell gives it up to Ejim. Working down low. What a move to get 2 points.
I sure do love a reverse. Right? Just the awareness to create separation from yourself by using the backboard. Such a smart play.
4 points and 4 rebounds for Ejim. And a whistle here. All right, we had a foul, but we are going to take our media timeout. Looks like Ejim trying to argue her case. She's having a solid game as we take a look at the work from the junior going underneath and up. We'll be right back on the WCC Network on Stadium. Zags, Western Washington. Welcome back to Mike Roth Way in Spokane, Washington. So you take a look at the bench of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Amanda, check out the third quarter for the Zags. 17-2, they've outscored the visiting Vikings, who haven't scored a point in over 4 minutes.
Yeah, just for some perspective, Gonzaga in the first 2 quarters totaled 30 points, right? So that's 15 points in the first, 15 points they scored in the second, and here in the third, they already have 17. Something is working. Oh, let me tell you what it is. The offensive production is just so sharp right now from Gonzaga. Not only are they working on the perimeter, right? They're taking those open opportunities, but they're also working their post players.
They're firing on all cylinders, playing great on both sides of the ball as they hold a 47-24 lead with less than 5 minutes to play here in this third quarter.
And I think a lot of their defensive production, what they've been forcing here in the third quarter, kind of offset shots from Western Washington, if you will, has really influenced the production in getting them out, getting them to run. They're not necessarily, I would say, playing in transition so much here in the third quarter, but they're getting down to the other side of the court and then able to quickly set something up offensively.
Ejim was fouled on her way to the basket. She will head to the charity stripe.
She's been super fun to watch in this game. I just love kind of the competitive spirit that I can just see in both sides of the court, right? So it's like in the post, she is ready. She's like, give me the ball. On the other side, she's like, excuse me, get out of the paint. This is my territory.
Yeah, she came off the bench in all but one game last season. Again, as we mentioned, was the WCC 6th Woman of the Year, and she took advantage of every opportunity she got. She averaged more than 10 points and 5.5 rebounds a game, and much deserving of that 6th Woman Award.
So these are going to be extended minutes that we're going to see from her moving forward, right? Kind of moving into that starting role that we saw in this game, and then moving forward, it's going to be a differential in minutes and just kind of overall production.
And Ejim was there on that play, almost forcing another turnover, but it will stay with Western Washington.
It's only one made basket for Western Washington here in this third quarter. Gonzaga, they're on a 16-0 run.
Part of the story, and that does end the run as Molly Olson, the standout senior, knocks down the bucket, a three-pointer. Now a 48-27 lead. And that's Western Washington forcing a turnover, just their 5th of the game. Olson will pull the trigger again from 3. That one just off the mark. It's a fight for the rebound. They're going to get the Zags with a foul. That one called against Maud Huibens, the 6'3" sophomore out of the Netherlands. Spent a little bit of time at Syracuse before being injured, then transferring over to Gonzaga. Nice pass from Kaylin Trong to Yvonne Ejim, who finishes, and she pumps her fist.
Come on with the no look.
And one.
Come on.
Here it is.
Come on, look at the no look pass, the finish. No defender from Western Washington thought that ball was going to Ejim.
Knew we'd see it a lot this season. Already seen it a couple times in this game, and that one, oh, that's fun to watch. I could watch that all day.
And that's kind of what you get from playing together for a while, right? Like the defense, they didn't know with the no-look pass that it was coming to Ejim, but guess what? I bet she knew it was coming right to her, and she was ready.
Oh, yeah, Ejim at the line again. That one rattles out. So no good on the three-point play. And now Avery Dykstra's got it, working off the screen. Looks to drive. Now she'll give it up. Monique Fierke in it. Over to Katrina Jamaica, who drives baseline. Spins, goes up, right-hander, off the mark, rebounded by Ejim. And here comes Kaylee Trong racing down the floor. Ejim with it. I called her for a travel, just took one extra step. She was looking to score.
I'm stuck on the last play, though, because it's what we've kind of watched in practice. They work on drills like that. They work on the fast break, pushing the basketball, going narrow into the paint, and then finishing. It was perfect.
Gonzaga currently on a 18-3 run over the last 5.5 minutes. And yet again, they force another turnover. That's the 15th of the game, 16th, excuse me. Brenna Maxwell pulls up from the baseline. That shot is flush. Maxwell now into double figures, 10 points, 3 of 5 shooting. Fierke pulls up, tough looking shot, won't go. It's rebounded by Gonzaga. Trong, another pass to Ejim, another finish from the junior. And Coach Carmen Dolfo of the Vikings is going to want a timeout and talk this one over as it is starting to get out of hand here at the McCarthy Athletics Center.
Yeah, it's a 22-2 Gonzaga run over the last 6 minutes. Do you remember when I said, oh, they're not really running in transition here in the third quarter? Laugh out loud. The last few minutes have just been push, push, push from the Bulldogs. And goodness, is it paying off.
You think that's what Lisa Fortier talked to
100%.
her team about in the locker room at halftime?
100%. We know that this is a team that likes to push the basketball. They like to run. They like to fast break. I think that, once again, if we look at the first half, they're settling in a little bit, right? This is the first opponent that they have played this season other than scrimmaging against one another. So, yes, there was some stuff to talk about at halftime and figure out and work on, and there's going to be after this one as well, but this is a different kind of offensive focus here in the third.
Now you talk about playing in transition. That's one thing Coach Fortier talked about with us in practice the other day, and saying to do that, you got to have a lot of fresh legs, so expect to see a lot of rotations this year because they're not quite at that level of shape yet that they want to be. And right now they are starting to bring in some additional players. You know, you see Destiny Burton out there, number 30. Callie Stokes is back in the game, and I believe that it's Peyton Muma getting her first action this evening. So giving some of those other starters some well-deserved rest as the Zags here hold a 54-26 lead with less than 2 minutes to play in the third quarter.
If you want to continually push the ball, though, you have to be able to sub in, and I think that I'm looking. I don't think we have the number on us, but I would be so interested to see the bench points and the bench production from Gonzaga.
Now you talked about as well playing somebody else just for the first time other than themselves. You know, I mean, you know, they get some of the alumni to come in and scrimmage, and which is great. But Fortier says that's just an extension of their own team. What's nice about playing another team is you don't feel bad when you're beating up on them.
Absolutely.
And they're doing that right now. The 30-point lead. That shot was blocked by Stokes. We've got a 2-on-2 here. Muma pulls up. Shot was a little strong, rebounded by Stokes. So some nice transition play right there for the Zags. Come away with the turnover. had an advantage situation. It was a 3-on-2. I said 2-on-2. And Muma got.
Okay. Well, we knew what you meant. We're
We can see.
watching.
We're
We're watching.
So Callie Stokes now at the line. Redshirt freshman from Redondo Beach. Hits her first free throw. Redshirted last season. Is a standout player in high school. 3-time All-State at Redondo Union High School in California, where she averaged 21 points a game, 11.5 rebounds, 3.5 steals, and 3 assists. Oh, and she added that she was a state champion in 2018.
Just that.
And we're going to get a foul. I believe that one was on Peyton Muma reaching in.
Foul call against Gonzaga, number 3, Peyton Muma, first personal.
If you remember, though, at the half, I said that offensively, besides Kaylin Trong, we would need to see, production from other players on this Gonzaga basketball team. Yvonne Ejim, 13 points.
Yeah, and 8 rebounds, so just a couple shy of a double-double. Zags with 5 fouls in this quarter, so the Vikings in the bonus will head to the line from here on out. Ejim goes up strong. That shot was partly blocked by Walling. Vikings coming the other way quickly, trying to do something here with 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Jamaica's shot won't go. Ejim, her 9th rebound of the game. Peyton Muma with it over to Burton. Burton tosses it over to Kaylee Trong. Another 3, and guess what? Another make for the senior. 17 points for Kaylee Trong, and that's how the third quarter comes to an end. Man, she is fun to watch.
A 14-2 run over the last 3 minutes of the quarter for Gonzaga, and all of a sudden it's out of hand, right? Gonzaga leading at 62-28. We've got a fun one here, and they've got lots of this more, I would feel like, coming up here in the fourth quarter. You're watching the WCC Network on Stadium.
Well, welcome back to the McCarthy Athletic Center. Final tune-up game before the regular season gets underway for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who just had an incredible third quarter. They have a 62-28 lead over Western Washington University out of Bellingham. And just Amanda Smith, Joe McHale here. Let's take a look at the Zags non-conference schedule as that gets underway on November 10th against Long Beach State, their season opener here in Spokane. A couple games to pay attention to on November 19th through the 21st. They'll be in the Bahamas for the battle for Atlantis. They will play Louisville in the first round of that tournament. That was the team that knocked them out of the NCAA tournament in the second round last season. It was a good game, a competitive game, but in the end, Louisville took it 68-59. And then again, I know the graphics gone, but Gonzaga will play Stanford in their non-conference slate once again, a team that they've actually played, I want to say 13 times in the last 15 seasons. They really like facing the Cardinal.
A lot of programs like facing the Stanford Cardinal because what they do is they expose your weaknesses.
Right.
They expose what you need to work on in your own conference.
Yeah, Fortier said that they love scheduling teams like that in mid-November because they would have had a few other games under their belt already. So, hey, let's go test ourselves against one of the top programs in the country over the years in Stanford. Kaylin Trong was looking for Hollingsworth down low, but a little too much heat on that pass. Sails out of bounds, though. Gonzaga will keep it.
The idea is there, though, kind of like I mentioned earlier, to get those touches in the paint. The differential in paint points right now, Gonzaga 24, 14 from Western Washington's side. So when we talk about why it's working, well, they've got size on the Vikings.
Shot wouldn't go from Trong, but a nice rebound there from Hollingsworth, who puts it up and in.
Make it 26 points from the inside. What's up?
64-28. 8.5 minutes to go here in this fourth and final corner from Spokane. Another turnover forced by this Bulldog defense. It was Hybens taking it away, and Kaylin Trong now has it, gives it up to her sister Kaylin. Esther Little looking for Hollingsworth, and they're going to call a jump ball there as Hollingsworth got tripped up. Possession arrow is with Western Washington. Zag shooting 47% from the field in this game, 54% from three-point range, and have the turnover advantage 18-8 over the visiting Vikings.
You know, it didn't start like that, though, right? Like, if we look at the breakdown, 36% shooting in the first quarter, 30% in the second, and then in the third, 86% from the floor. 32 points in that third quarter. And maybe more impressively, they held Western Washington to just 6.
Yeah, just incredible, not on offense, but as you said, on defense as well, as Hollingsworth got it in the paint, looking for a little help, kicks it back up to Kaylee Trong, who will slow things down. Over to her sister Kaylin in the corner. That one was too strong. Wallings got it for the Vikings. That bucket falls for Western Washington. Truett Riley. Saw her a little bit earlier in the game, but was on the bench for some time. Esther Little's shot is short, rebounded by Walling. Riley was looking for Walling, but that pass was a little too high and it sailed out of bounds. Going to get a few substitutions here for both teams. Stephanie Peterson and Carly Zaragoza will check in for Western Washington. Brenna Maxwell, Michaela Williams in for Gonzaga.
I think that this has been a really great opponent, not just for Gonzaga, but for Western Washington as well. They had one other scrimmage. They have one more scrimmage planned, but this exhibition game against Gonzaga, you know, coming into this one, head coach Carmen Dolfo, you know, saying that they were really excited to play a program like Gonzaga, one that could really challenge them.
Oh yeah, and you know, obviously playing a premier program like GU, you know, there could potentially be nerves, and you know, but she said her team doesn't read into any of that. They've actually had a couple scrimmages in the last couple years against Oregon State, so they've played these, you know, these Division I programs before, so nothing new to them. And you know, outside of that third quarter really getting out of hand, they were playing very well.
Yeah, incredibly competitive. You know, kind of forcing in that first half. I think some miscommunications, missed rotations from Gonzaga, both on the offensive and defensive ends, right? And then there was an adjustment, and the third quarter just got a little out of hand.
Now these Vikings, like we've mentioned, have been picked to finish first in their conference and also were the preseason #1 team in the country in the media poll. So expectations for them are very, very high this year. Shot off the mark from Brenna Maxwell. They'll go back, they'll look at the tape, and you know, that's what these exhibitions are for. They'll clean up their mistakes, and I'm sure by the start of, you know, conference and even the regular season, they will start to put things together.
100%. I know I already said it, but I just love exhibition games for that reason, where you just get to try stuff. You get to try different players, playing with players that they might not play with as we move into non-conference and then conference play. Like, so much changes between now. It's going to look so much different between now and then what we're going to see in February.
Yeah, absolutely right. Michaela Williams hesitated, ultimately decides to shoot the three from the top of the arc and sinks it.
But the space came from the screen that Hybens had on Avery Dykstra. So that is what allowed that space.
Zags closing in on a 40-point lead with just under 5 minutes to play, and they will force, momentarily looked had forced another turnover, but instead we're going to get a foul. And it is time for our final media timeout of this contest. As we go to break, we take a look at that screen, Amanda, creating that space for Michaela Williams, who knocked down the three from the top of the arc. It's 68-30, 5 minutes to play here. We'll be right back with more college basketball on the WCC Network on Stadium. Well, welcome back inside the McCarthy Athletic Center. Amanda Smith, Joe McHale. Once again, thanks for making us a part of your evening. Under 5 minutes to play here in this fourth and final corner as the Zags hold a dominant lead over the visiting Western Washington University Wildcats in a exhibition matchup, 68-30. And what a last 20 minutes for these Bulldogs, Amanda.
Yeah, just for reference, if we go back to the second quarter, Western Washington with 4:20 left had the lead. It was 21-19. Since then, they've only scored 9 points.
Over the last 20 minutes.
Yes, and so I think we have to credit Gonzaga's defense, and I specifically want to talk about the turnovers. Western Washington with 21 turnovers, Gonzaga scoring 27 points off of those opportunities. That's huge. What they're doing is they're forcing it, and then they're pushing, running in transition, and doing things like that.
Yeah, Peyton Muma with the corner three, and what I love about that is you just look at the bench and their reaction, because, you know, Peyton Muma not getting a ton of playing time, and so when she's able to, they see, and she takes advantage of those opportunities. They love seeing that. They know she does it in practice, so when she does it out here in a game, it just makes the bench so happy.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, kind of just to build on what you mentioned before about, you know, if you want to run, you have to have a lot of players that can come in and do just that. You have to be able to dive deep into your bench.
And to add to that turnover story, as Brenna Maxwell's three-pointer is flush. Everyone's getting buckets here at Mike Rothway. We have a whistle, and I believe we're going to have a foul. Take another look at the Brenna Maxwell three. Just a little sidestep.
Right, that's what I kind of have been talking about, is this sidestep, dribble, pick up, and then it's just one motion into the shot that Riley Dykstra, she didn't really have a lot of opportunity to recover. But goodness, you know, just raining outside. It's raining buckets in here. That was so bad. It was like a bad joke.
It was
like bad.
No, well, I thought you said it was bad as in it was like, you know.
No,
bad.
It was like,
not a bad
silly.
shot, but like.
It was silly.
Yeah. Well, you watched a lot of Maxwell, you know, when you were in Utah. You saw a lot of that, I'm sure, when she was with the Utes.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of fits in with this Gonzaga basketball team that likes to shoot, right? They have a lot of scorers on this team, and so kind of that defensive side is something that I know that she's been focusing on when we talk about moving forward and earning minutes.
Raining outside, raining buckets. I loved it. I'm going to be a dad in a couple of months,
bad.
so the dad jokes, the corny jokes are so exciting.
Okay,
yeah.
I can help you with those. You're welcome. You can use that one.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Hey, you mentioned that Gonzaga's they've scored 30 points off of 21 turnovers. Meanwhile, the Zags have protected the rock overall pretty well, just 8 turnovers, but the Vikings haven't taken advantage of any of it. They have no points off of turnovers.
And I think that's really impressive because if we look at their stats from last year, you know, they were averaging about 15 turnovers a game. So I think for any program, anytime, to have that number under 10 is very impressive.
Vikings ran out of time on that possession. So with 2:21 to play and a 73-32 lead, Gonzaga will control. Esther Little is checking into the game for Gonzaga. I would like to see Little or Burton get a bucket. They're the only 2 players on this team who have not scored yet, as Maxwell drives the lane and buries it.
So every available person for Gonzaga has seen minutes.
Yes, which is huge.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want in these exhibitions. Peyton Muma on the wing, looking for a little bit of help. She'll get it to Burton, who goes down low to Little, who was fouled.
Foul against the Vikings, number 23, Mason Oberg, her 3rd personal.
Muma will inbound it, goes to Burton. The transfer out of Panola College goes up, but that shot won't fall. And that shot was blocked by Little. Under 1 minute to play here in the McCarthy Athletic Center, as the Zags have to feel good about their performance this evening. Thinking they're maybe going to get one more before the final bell went off.
I think it just comes back to that response. You know, it's at this point 75 to 34. You kind of almost sometimes forget that at one point, like, Western Washington had the lead.
Yeah, midway through that second quarter.
Like, and they were playing really, really tough, and I think that they still are playing tough. But something has changed within Gonzaga from halftime to now, and it's just they're sharp, they're efficient, and they're working. Not just working, they are working.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation. And I think, you know, so much of that has started on the defensive end and allowed them to do what they want, which is to run, right? So if you're competitive defensively, can force turnovers. Why stop?
11 seconds left.
Why?
And the crowd is going insane.
So is the bench.
Kelly Stokes hits a 3-pointer, and that will be the exclamation mark on this contest. Oh, we are going to get a whistle and stop play with 2.5 seconds to go. You know, Gonzaga comes into this season preseason ranked to win the West Coast Conference, and they're playing like it.
Oh gosh, the spacing, the wraparound pass. Look at all their smiles. They're having fun.
They certainly are, as they will head into the weekend and start preparations for their regular season opener, which will be against Long Beach State. They'll host the Beach here at the McCarthy Athletic Center next Thursday, November 10th, 7:30 tip-off, as the Gonzaga Bulldogs win their exhibition matchup against Western Washington University 78-36. And ever since about halfway through the second quarter of this contest, they just went on an absolute tear.
The three-point shooting, 48% as a team from the perimeter. I mean, if we break it down by quarter, you look at the first quarter three-point shooting, consistent. right? 43%. Then you go into the second, struggled about 17%, but goodness, the response that they had as a collective team coming out of halftime, putting in the work, knowing what they had to do to win this one. And honestly, you have to feel really good about this, knowing that this is a different team than what we have seen in the past. To lose 4 starters, that's a lot. I don't know if we touched on that enough. That is a change.
Yeah.
Yvonne
Ejim had an outstanding game. She is our player of the game. As you look at some of her highlights, she's just 1 rebound shy of a double-double, 13 points, 9 rebounds. I mean, they've fan base. If I'm the fan base here, I am extremely excited about Yvonne Ejim getting starts this season and seeing so many more minutes than she did last year.
Well, how about 13 points all coming in the second half?
Yeah.
She went scoreless in the first. And I'm just so impressed with her defensive production that she was able to really kind of be like this catalyst for Gonzaga in what they were able to do offensively.
Yeah, and you can't say the word response enough. That was that was something that Coach Fortier wanted to see how her team would do in an exhibition is how did they respond? They went out and they did it. Take a look at the final stats here. 46% shooting from the field, 48% from three-point range. The turnovers and then the points off of turnovers, I mean, this just blows my mind.
Come on, look at 23 forced turnovers coming from Western Washington, just 8 from your Bulldogs, and then Gonzaga scoring 32 points off those. The Vikings did not score off of the 8 from Gonzaga, so I just think that that's something that you have to look at and be really impressed by. To have that number under 10, I mean, that's a goal in general every single time.
The 78-36 final. Game started a little slow. Both teams had their moments in that first half, and then the Gonzaga Bulldogs just took over. Yvonne Ejim, almost a double-double, our player of the game. Kaylee Trong was unbelievable. She had 14 points, 5 of 9 from three-point range. Every single player who was available to play tonight for this Gonzaga team got minutes, and it was a fun one. For for Amanda Smith, our producer, Stephen Carr, director, Seth Hansen, I'm Joe McHale saying so long from the McCarthy Athletic Center.